Silence greeted me upon waking. Not the serene quiet of a winter morning or the hush of a sleeping house, but an oppressive stillness, stifling and heavy. I lay in bed, hardly daring to breathe, straining to detect any movement. None. Carefully I rose, the smallest actions echoing loudly in the quiet. Even my breath seemed to reverberate, my heartbeat thundering in my ears. I hurried to the window, the cool floor chilling my feet. The early sun cast a soft yellow glow over the landscape. Outside, the snow sparkled, contrasting against the deep green of the pine forest edging towards the river. Leaning closer, I felt the cold seep through the glass. I reached out to touch it, but my weight creaked the floorboards. Frozen in place, a sudden fear gripped me, as if being awake was something to hide. "Is that you, dear?" The distant chime from downstairs shattered the spell, flooding the room with sound. Birds chirping outside, the faint hum of the heater, the clink of a spoon in a cup. I exhaled a breath I didn't know I'd been holding and shook off the remnants of sleep. "Yes, Mom. I'll be down in a moment," I called back, straightening the bed hastily. I was home, or rather at my parents' house for Christmas. My spouse and I had decided it easier for me to come alone, given the closed borders due to the pandemic. It was a welcome change, and I missed the holidays in a snowy setting. Peeking through the slightly ajar door of my parents' bedroom, I glimpsed what looked like a body-shaped lump under the covers. It struck me as odd since Dad was usually the first one up. I guessed there was a first time for everything. Carefully descending the stairs, I paused to admire the photos Mom had lovingly hung. Each captured a piece of their travels, a handmade memory, cherished rather than tucked away. There was always room for more. Turning the corner, I smiled at the Christmas tree and mantle adorned with ornaments, a collection spanning decades. Unpacking them each year was a cherished tradition, each bauble a reminder of years gone by. To my surprise, Mom sat at the dining table instead of bustling in the kitchen. "Good morning," I chirped, giving her a hug that felt somehow off. "Good morning, sweetie," she replied, and my arms instinctively loosened. "Are you feeling okay, Mom?" I pulled back, meeting her gaze. There was a fleeting chill in her eyes, a glint of something cold and steady that vanished almost as soon as it appeared. "Couldn't be better." "Why do you ask, sweetheart?" She smiled, patting my arm, a gesture both familiar and strange. Stepping back, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. "Oh, it's nothing. I had a weird dream, I think." "Well, have some tea and toast, dear. That'll set you right." Grateful for the distraction of preparing breakfast, I moved methodically through the kitchen. Yet, unease lingered, and I mentally reviewed the day's planned activities: Scrabble, butter tarts, meringues, and a visit to our tea room. Perhaps we'd even pick up Chinese food on the way back. Yes, that sounded perfect. Satisfied with my efforts to lift my spirits, I glanced out the kitchen window at the snowy landscape, the pristine white against the vivid blue sky. Taking a deep breath, I carried my plate and cup to the table, determined to keep the mood cheerful. Smiling at Mom, I spread honey on my toast and dug in. "Oh," she said softly, "by the way, Dad's out. He said he needed a new mask. The old one was past its prime." I chuckled. That was so like Dad, always primping in front of the mirror and giving himself a thumbs up. Now, stylish masks were his new collection. But isn't he still asleep? "I thought I saw him in bed," I asked, puzzled. Mom's smile faltered for a moment before widening again, brighter than before. "Silly me. Of course he's still asleep. I meant he's heading out later." She took a sip of tea, eyes glancing at me over the rim, an odd intensity in her gaze. I absently took another bite of toast, the strange feeling creeping back. Another bite, another look. Was there something off about her face? The right side seemed to sag slightly. She reached out, her touch cool and clammy, her grip surprisingly bony. Was she having a stroke? I leaned closer, searching for signs. Then I saw it, a thin red line under her jaw near her ear. "Mom, what's that on your neck?" "What do you mean, honey?" There was a pause, then, "Baby?" Another pause, then, with a sudden realization, "Sweetie. Is that blood?" I could see it clearly now, the line widening. Panic rose in my throat. "What's happening to your face?" She casually touched her fingers to the mark, inspecting the stain left on her skin as though it were an inconvenience, a minor irritation. "Sometimes the old ones don't fit right. You have to adjust," she explained, a soft chuckle following. Then she straightened in her chair, her unnaturally wide smile fixed on me. I recoiled from the table, breath caught in my throat. "What the—" "Language, dear," said the figure with my mother's face. I stumbled back from the dining room, legs moving like lead, horror racing through my mind, a nightmare unfolding before me. "This can't be real," I muttered, hoping against hope it was a dream. A thump sounded upstairs, not Dad returning but something else. I suppressed a scream, stumbling towards the front door. "Remember, sweetheart, safety first." A soft chuckle followed. I grasped the cool knob, already turning it, feeling the icy air as the door swung open. It still sat at the table, watching me, amused by my fear, my escape. I was so close, almost there. The door swung wider, cold winter air rushing in. My foot touched the welcome mat. I was almost free, safe. A movement caught me by surprise. A swift, smooth motion I barely registered. Then, a whisper tickled my ear, chilling me to the bone. "Facial masks must be worn."